Welcome to the Brain's Body, Dark Slaton Line, the ultimate experience. Now, I'm saying that because we're talking about the crisis of self, but that's natural because I'm a human scientist and I study brain, body, and sense events. And brain, body, and sense events bring you to self because that's what we are. When we're functioning because of our brain, body, and sense interplay that allows us to do the things that we do at the highest level possible. But to be able to function, you must be aware of how the brain learns, the body lives, and the senses feel things through a sense of feel for self. I just said it again, because many of us are brought up believing in the behaviorist perspective of a sense of your personality, attitude, character, behavior, and stuck with program thinking instead of process learning. And so when I'm talking about human system science, I'm talking about the science of self-learning, how you learn to live, how you learn to think, how you learn to respond. And what we're talking about is the state of mind versus the brain's body. And I'm talking about this because when you get locked into a behavior pattern, there has to be an easier way for you to solve the problem of self, the crisis of self. When you have a behavior pattern that is recognized as negative and it affects your ability to interact with other people because of the perception emanating from the way your body presents you. And so I talk about the mind because the mind is not the brain. The body mind is what I just said. The body is the mind. The brain is the body. So when you tune in to my show, what I'm talking about is the transformation of self, change, so that you begin to understand how easy it is for you to change a negative behavior to a positive pattern of engagement, thought, action. 3 things that we work on: emotion, thought, reflection. Work on those 3 things because when you talk about the experience of experiencing the experiences of self, you go through emotion, thought, and reflection. But the balancing act is, can you understand that you have the external influences that impact your ability to make positive contact because of the way it leads you to feel as you interact with your inner self. And so you become uncomfortable with the engagement. And so if you withdraw and isolate, it defeats the purpose of your brain, because your brain works to receive that information, negative or positive, because you transform your sense of feel for self, others, and the environment, so that the brain sends forward feed to address what is taking place in the sense path, transferring to the receive path. That's forward and backward feed I talk about in the literature. So when you talk about the brain, you want to understand that we have 3 things we always have to consider as the basis of how you respond to negative energy. First, you have to accept the sense contact. Second, you have to receive your sense of feel for the interaction because you can feel it. But what I'm saying is, you want to become more aware of how that feels. So you accept it, to receive it, to focus the process of that information flow. And as you're doing that, then the forward feed is already, the brain produces forward feed. And so that's already moving through the receive path to respond. So now you look at your body, and your body is either changing or staying the same. But if you look at your body, is it rigid or is it flexible and open? Because if it's rigid, that means you're resisting the sense of feel, and you want to be just a sense of what it feels like. So you're not accepting the way it feels. You just want a sense of how to remain the same behavior pattern. You don't want to change. You don't want to change because you know when you change, you have to evolve in the higher levels of thinking, thought. Now, what I'm saying here is that makes you feel as though you're vulnerable because you're actually processing the information, and changes are becoming more pronounced to you. So you begin to realize there's other ways to look at the crisis of self. But in order to do that, you have to create a new action learning continuum so that you can check, test, your sense of feel for self, other people, and the environment to ensure that you're responding and that the responses that you're releasing are appropriate to the context of the problem, whether it's emotion, thought, or too much reflection. Because what we're talking about, learning how to live inside your body with the emotion and learning how to deal with negative influences from the environment that sense and focus emotion at you as an influencer of your behavior or state of mind. And what I'm saying is you learn from self, other people, and the environment how to stand firm and understand how to read and interpret that flow of information. And as it moves through you, adjust, relax, and allow your brain to come to the forefront through your levels of awareness. You got to believe that your brain is stronger than your state of mind because your state of mind is a state of reflection. That's what hurts. It is caught up in a pattern of reflection, thought with emotion. And it's hard to move through it because that may be your defense mechanism. And I'm saying that's why you don't want to change. Because if you change, that means you have to evolve into a new sense of feel for who, what you are. I'm not talking about personality. I'm not talking about attitude. I'm not talking about character. I'm not talking about anything other than the changes that occur in your neurophysics so that you begin to realize what's happening. The external and the internal come together. That emotion and thought collide. Now what's happening? You have to resolve these issues. Do you adjust? No. You cooperate. Do you adjust? No. You participate. Do you adjust? Yes. To perform. Because these are the things you're doing to allow yourself to become more informed. And I talk about discipline. You become more informed to discipline your body through all this energy flow, information flow, knowledge flow, understandings back and forth, so that you begin to understand it's okay to change because you're not changing in the sense of forever. You're changing so that you can move through the environment and situation with other people, with yourself in the lead, your brain leading your body. So that at the end of the day, those reflections are being produced from you and your work to sense, to feel, to focus. The flow of energy, action, and feelings, blood oxygen, so that you begin to realize what's going on inside of you. No, because all these things have names and titles, and that's what you're going to do. That's why we write to the brain, so that you can write these things down as it's transpiring. We talk about talking to the brain. We talk to the brain, meaning you have an inner voice, and that inner voice is not a standalone voice. It means you must do something. When your brain is doing self-talk, you have to do something to counteract that, so you release brain talk. That's your knowledge base. The levels of awareness that you're beginning to realize as you continue to work through the problem of self. So the brain talk, reading, writing, acting, drawing, performing, that's your evidence, that's your test of the brain's powers over the body and changes in your state of mind. And so now you have a structural way of understanding how to change the way you think, especially when you're around negative energy, negative people, and then evolve from there. You don't want to go back to being the same person. You want that reflection to kick in, because that reflection is the synthesis of what's taking place, and that state of mind evolves to a higher level. So, and now when you try to adjust, that's what you're adjusting. You don't come back down, you adjust so that it does not disrupt the flow of your knowledge base. And it's accumulative. And then you look back at the body. And then you look at the body because you want to check your state of mind. Well, what is my state of mind? How does it look? How does it feel? And you just look at the body, go to the mirror, film yourself, and check out your state of mind, the state of the body. Now, think about the brain's body, the neurophysics of how you think through emotion, thought, and reflection. Let's do it the other way, because the thought, the reflection, and the emotion is what the brain produces. Now, I'm saying that because, somebody's in your house right now, and they're trying to be aggressive. And what does the brain do? It sends that thought, reflection, because it wants you to arm yourself with the information. Now that emotion is passion, it's character. It's, I gotta handle this, you see? Because it's what the brain does. But you have to be structured and understanding through levels of awareness, what is it that you want to be able to accomplish in any situation. The brain's body. It's a learning system. Pick up the book. Pick up the books. DocSlatonLive.com. Pick up the books. Go look at them. No, because you see, this is frontier stuff. Because you see, when you talk about the brain, you're talking about the body. When you're talking about the body, you're talking about the neural systems of the senses, your neural networks. Okay, this is not neuroscience, this is social science. We're talking about social organs. The brain, social organ. Body, social organ. Senses, social organ. It means you are built for interaction. That means you are built for neurologic transformations in terms of anything you have contact, interaction with. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to evolve to a higher technology, through levels of awareness. Through levels of awareness. Now, the trick is that when I talk about those environmental influences, that's programmed. So when you train yourself to think a certain way, you're programming your state of mind, your body. People can read your body. And so when you try to change that, you're resistant to changing that because you put all that work in to framing that level of discipline. That's why I said you sense the field of focus, brain, body, senses, so that you can do what? Change instantaneously. I sense it, I feel it, I'm focused, I got it. You see? Levels of awareness, thought, reflection, emotion, bam, it's all in front of you. You're not afraid anymore. The emotion and the thought is not colliding because it's balanced, because your brain's in the lead. And you are able to feel the body, feel the action, feel the energy, and feel the feelings moving through you. Check it out. Practice. Check it out. Doc Slaton Live. I'll be back shortly. Thank you very much for tuning in.